Did you know that some health checkups, which seem routine and harmless, can actually do more harm than good once you cross the age of 65? Imagine this. Many seniors continue going through the same medical tests every year, thinking it will keep them safe. But the shocking truth is that certain tests at this stage of life may expose you to radiation, unnecessary surgeries, and even dangerous complications. Today, I'm going to reveal 7 such checkups that seniors should think twice about after the age of 65. But before I reveal them, let me explain why these routine checkups may not be as safe as you believe. As we age, our bodies change. What was once a helpful test at 40 or 50 may become risky at 70. Many seniors live with the fear of losing independence, falling sick, or being a burden on family. That fear often pushes them to agree to every test their doctor suggests. But here is the problem. Some tests are not only unnecessary, they can also increase anxiety, cause false alarms, and lead to painful treatments you may never have needed in the first place. That is why in this video I will share the 7 tests to avoid, the science behind why they are harmful, and what safer alternatives you should consider. But first, let me ask you something. Have you or someone in your family ever been asked to repeat a medical test again and again, even when nothing was wrong? Tell me in the comments, because many seniors have gone through this situation without realizing they had a choice. Now let us begin with the first health checkup seniors should avoid after 65. The PSA test for prostate cancer. Let us start with something that many men over 65 are very familiar with, the PSA blood test for prostate cancer. The first time you hear about it, it sounds like a lifesaver, a simple blood test that can detect cancer early. But here is what often happens. As men grow older, the test may show rising PSA levels even when there is no serious cancer. Imagine going through weeks of anxiety, repeated doctor visits, and sometimes painful biopsies, only to find out that everything is fine. That is not an uncommon story. Researchers have studied this closely. The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force mentions that routine PSA screening after a certain age does not always add much benefit. Instead, it often leads to false alarms and unnecessary treatments. I once spoke to an elderly gentleman who described the whole experience as a roller coaster of emotions. He went from fear to relief, but in the process lost sleep and peace of mind. So, what can you do instead? The best path is to stay alert for real symptoms, like difficulty urinating or unusual pain, and then consult your doctor if anything feels wrong. In other words, keep the conversation open but avoid unnecessary panic checks. Colonoscopies. After 75 next on our list is colonoscopy. This test is an important tool in middle age because it can detect colon cancer at an early stage. But after 75, the situation is different. The body becomes more delicate, and the risk of complications, such as bleeding or discomfort, increases. At that point, the benefits often shrink while the risks grow larger. There was a Harvard study that pointed out how seniors who had regular colonoscopies after 75 often did not gain much advantage if they had no new symptoms. I remember a lady who bravely went through a colonoscopy at 78. After the test, she felt weak and developed side effects that troubled her for weeks. Later, her doctor told her that in her case, the test might not have been necessary at all. Smarter alternative is to discuss non-invasive stool tests with your doctor. These are less stressful, easier to do, and still provide valuable information without putting your body through unnecessary strain. Pap smears. After 65 now, let us talk to the women in our audience. The Pap smear is a test that has saved countless lives by detecting cervical cancer early. But once a woman has crossed 65 and has had several normal Pap results in the past, experts agree that the test can often be stopped safely. Why? Because the chances of developing new cervical issues after years of clear results are very small. Imagine a woman who has been careful her whole life, always keeping up with her health checks. At 68, she continues to go for Pap smears every year. Each time she spends days worrying while waiting for the result. Even though her record is perfectly clean, that stress takes a toll too. The American Cancer Society suggests that most women over 65 with no history of abnormal results can safely let go of this routine. Instead, focus on other aspects of wellness, nutrition, physical activity, and joyful living. That is a much better investment of energy. Mammograms after 75. This one can be surprising for many people. Mammograms are well known as a critical tool for breast cancer detection, but after the age of 75, studies show that the benefit of annual mammograms becomes very limited. What often happens instead is the discovery of tiny lumps or changes that may never become harmful, yet lead to unnecessary anxiety, biopsies, or even surgeries. I once heard about a grandmother who underwent surgery after a mammogram flagged a suspicious spot. Months later, doctors concluded that it was harmless. The emotional and physical toll of that journey was heavy for her. So what should you do instead? Pay attention to your body. If you notice new pain, swelling, or changes, consult your doctor immediately. Self-awareness and open communication with healthcare providers can often be more valuable than automatic yearly scans. Whole-body CT scans. Now, let us move into the world of technology. Some clinics promote whole-body CT scans as the ultimate health package, like a quick peek inside your body that will reveal every hidden danger. It sounds tempting, but here's the catch. These scans involve exposure to radiation, and they often detect tiny spots or irregularities that are not dangerous at all. One senior I knew went for such a scan, and it showed a small shadow in his lung. That shadow turned out to be harmless, but before reaching that conclusion, he went through weeks of testing and deep worry. It is like opening a mystery box. You never know what you will find, and sometimes you end up chasing ghosts. The Food and Drug Administration has even advised that whole-body scans without a clear medical reason are not recommended. A better approach is to let your doctor decide when and where imaging is truly necessary. That way your body is protected and your mind stays calmer. Frequent bone density tests. Bone health is very important after 65, especially since osteoporosis becomes more common. But how often do you really need to test your bone density? Some seniors are asked to repeat the scan every single year. However, in most cases, once you are on a treatment plan, repeating it too frequently does not provide much new information. Experts suggest that testing once every 2 to 5 years is usually enough. Let me share an example. A woman in her early 70s told me how she spent days worrying about small changes in her bone density report every year, but her treatment plan never changed. It was only later she realized that the yearly scans were not necessary. So what is the alternative? Focus on lifestyle habits that strengthen bones, like adding calcium and vitamin D to your diet, doing regular walking or lightweight exercises, and practicing balance activities like yoga or Tai Chi. Those actions have more power than any repeated test. Cardiac stress tests without symptoms. Finally, let us talk about the heart. Many seniors are advised to undergo cardiac stress tests, even when they have no symptoms. The idea is to check how the heart performs under pressure. But for a healthy senior with no chest pain or shortness of breath, the test can sometimes lead to a chain reaction, angiograms, procedures, or even surgeries that were never truly required. The American College of Cardiology clearly mentions that routine stress tests are not needed in healthy seniors without risk factors. I remember one elderly man who went for a stress test simply because he thought it was routine. The result showed something unusual, which led to further tests and discussions of surgery. In the end, doctors agreed he did not need any of it. Instead of automatic stress tests, the healthier path is to manage lifestyle. Keep your blood pressure in check, control diabetes, stay active, and eat heart-friendly foods. That is the real recipe for long-lasting heart health. So, here's the big lesson. Health checkups are not about quantity, they are about quality. After 65, some tests may create more problems than solutions. The real key to healthy aging is balance. Choose the right tests, avoid the harmful ones, and focus on lifestyle and prevention. Remember, the goal is not just to live longer, but to live better. Which of these 7 tests surprised you the most? Tell me in the comments. I would love to know. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more science-based senior health tips every week. Stay healthy, stay strong, and I will see you in the next video.